In March 2026, Poland imposed a sweeping flight ban along its eastern borders with Ukraine and Belarus, a move that sent shockwaves through the region and signaled a new era of vigilance. This unprecedented step was not just a bureaucratic measure, but a bold declaration of intent in the face of mounting regional tensions. The ban prohibits all unauthorized air traffic below 3,000 meters, effectively sealing off the skies to any aircraft, drone or balloon that hasn't received explicit clearance from Polish authorities. This is a direct signal to Moscow. Polish airspace is off-limits to Russian military provocations, and any attempt to test these boundaries will be met with swift consequences. The move transforms Poland's eastern skies into a tightly controlled security zone, shifting from reactive defense to proactive deterrence. Surveillance is now constant, and every blip on the radar is scrutinized with heightened urgency. Any object crossing this aerial boundary without permission is now considered a potential threat, triggering immediate response from Poland's upgraded air defense network. The rules of engagement are clear, and the margin for error is gone. For years, NATO's eastern members scrambled jets after violations. Now, Poland sets the terms of engagement, taking control of its own security narrative and setting a new standard for Allied response. The ban is designed to deter Russian drones, surveillance balloons, and stray missiles before they even cross the border. It's a preemptive shield, aiming to neutralize threats at the earliest possible stage. It marks the end of passive observation and the start of assertive defense. Polish forces are now empowered to act, not just react, ensuring that the country's sovereignty is never left to chance. The implications extend beyond Poland, strengthening NATO's collective security and giving Polish forces the legal clarity to act decisively. Allies across Europe are watching closely, recognizing the significance of this shift. By creating a buffer zone, Poland demonstrates leadership on NATO's eastern flank and a commitment to counter Russian aggression with every available tool. This is not just about national defense, but about reinforcing the alliance as a whole. This calculated step redefines European security, making the skies a critical front line in the standoff with the Kremlin. The message is unmistakable. The era of hesitation is over. The era of ambiguity is over. Poland's airspace is now a fortress, and any threat will be met with unwavering resolve. Poland's sweeping flight ban is a direct response to Russia's escalating provocations, months of drones, surveillance balloons, and even stray cruise missiles probing Polish airspace. These incursions weren't isolated incidents, but part of a deliberate campaign to unsettle Poland and test the resolve of NATO's eastern flank. Each violation sent a clear message: Russia was willing to push boundaries, both literally and figuratively, to see how far it could go without triggering a major response. Each incursion tested NATO's defenses, seeking to expose weaknesses and desensitize responders. The constant pressure forced NATO to remain on high alert, stretching resources and increasing the risk of miscalculation. The tipping point came in September 2025, when over a dozen Russian drones violated Polish airspace in a single night, forcing NATO jets and Patriot systems into action. The scale and coordination of this breach marked a new phase in the confrontation. Several drones were shot down, marking a dangerous escalation from passive probing to active intrusion. The incident left no doubt that Russia was willing to risk direct confrontation to achieve its aims. In response, Poland invoked NATO's Article 4, bringing the threat to the alliance's highest attention. This move underscored the seriousness of the situation and demanded a coordinated response from all member states. The incident exposed the inadequacy of existing protocols. Delays in identification and engagement gave Russia an edge. These gaps highlighted the urgent need for modernization and faster decision-making in the face of evolving threats. Russia exploited procedural caution, using gray zone tactics to undermine Polish security. By operating in the ambiguous space between peace and open conflict, Moscow kept NATO guessing and off balance. The new 3,000-meter flight ban is a strategic adaptation, closing loopholes and enabling rapid, decisive action. It sends a clear signal that Poland will no longer tolerate ambiguity or hesitation at its borders. It's not just a technical change, but a necessary evolution to counter systematic Russian testing of NATO's resolve. The new measures are designed to restore deterrence and ensure that any future violations are met with swift consequences. Poland's move signals that the days of slow, reactive defense are over. The country is now taking proactive steps to secure its airspace and protect its sovereignty. The alliance now faces Russia's provocations with unified, immediate deterrence, demonstrating that NATO stands ready to defend its members against any threat at any time. The low-altitude flight ban is a game-changer for Poland's air defense, fundamentally transforming how threats are detected and neutralized. In the past, every unidentified object required a slow, methodical verification process, costing valuable seconds and sometimes leading to confusion or hesitation. Now, with the new policy, any unauthorized object below 3,000 meters is immediately flagged as a potential threat, enabling operators to respond without delay or second-guessing. This clear-cut rule empowers operators of advanced systems like Patriot batteries to act decisively, knowing exactly when to engage. By removing ambiguity, the ban reduces the risk of catastrophic mistakes and eases the mental burden on military personnel, allowing them to focus on rapid, accurate responses. With civilian air traffic cleared from low altitudes, defenders now operate in a sterile, controlled environment, maximizing both safety and efficiency. The new rules unleash the full potential of Poland's cutting-edge air defense technology, allowing it to function at peak performance. Rapid detection to engagement cycles mean that threats can be identified and neutralized before they have a chance to cause harm or reach their targets. This shift from a reactive to a proactive defense posture is perhaps the policy's most vital and far-reaching impact, fundamentally changing the way Poland protects its skies. Today, Poland's airspace is guarded by clear rules and swift, decisive action, making the nation safer than ever before. In the world of air defense, every second counts, and now, those seconds saved could mean entire cities are saved. Poland's flight ban doesn't just defend, it blinds Russian intelligence. For years, Moscow relied on low-flying drones and balloons to gather data on NATO deployments. Now, any such platform is a target, making surveillance missions prohibitively risky. Russia must either abandon these efforts or accept the loss of valuable assets. The policy also squeezes Kaliningrad, Russia's isolated Baltic enclave. Low-altitude routes for helicopters and transports are now closed, forcing Russian aircraft into predictable monitored corridors. This constricts Kaliningrad's resupply and reinforcement options, weakening its strategic position. Poland's control of the skies adds pressure on this critical outpost. The message to Moscow: your intelligence and logistics are no longer safe above Polish soil. The Suwałki Corridor, NATO's most vulnerable land link to the Baltic states, is now shielded by Poland's airspace ban. This narrow strip, flanked by Kaliningrad and Belarus, is a prime target in any Russian assault. Low-flying helicopters and drones once threatened to cut off the Baltics. Now, the airspace is a no-go zone. Poland's move complicates any Russian plan for a surprise aerial attack, buying NATO vital time to reinforce. Securing the corridor is essential for the alliance's credibility and defense. The flight ban acts as an invisible wall, complementing ground forces and barriers. Aggressors must now fly higher, where NATO's defenses are strongest, or abandon the idea of a swift strike. The corridor is no longer NATO's Achilles heel, but a fortified gateway. Poland's defense isn't just in the air, it's building the Eastern Shield, a $2.5 billion fortification along its borders with Kaliningrad and Belarus. This multi-layered barrier includes anti-tank ditches, bunkers, sensors, and physical obstacles, designed to delay and defeat any ground incursion. In a bold move, Poland plans to withdraw from the Ottawa Treaty, signaling readiness to deploy anti-personnel mines for added deterrence. Critics warn of humanitarian risks, but Warsaw sees mines as vital for channeling enemy forces and buying time. The war in Ukraine has shown the brutal effectiveness of minefields. Combined with the Eastern Shield, Poland is transforming into a fortress on NATO's edge. The message: every inch of Polish soil will be defended with every means necessary. Security now outweighs diplomatic niceties. Poland is fueling its defense with an unprecedented military modernization, spending nearly 5% of GDP, more than double NATO's target. Soviet-era gear is being replaced with cutting-edge tanks, artillery, and air defense systems. Hundreds of Abrams and K2 tanks, HIMARS and Chun-Mu rocket systems, and F-35 stealth fighters are joining the arsenal. The Air Force is modernizing with F-16s, F-A-50s, and a multi-layered air defense shield, including Patriot missiles. Apache helicopters add lethal anti-armor capability. This isn't just about hardware, it's about building a force interoperable with the US and NATO. Poland aims to deter Russian aggression on its own, becoming the backbone of NATO's eastern defense. Soon, Poland's military will be among Europe's most capable. Poland's assertiveness is echoed across the Baltic and Nordic region. Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania are building their own fortifications, bunkers, anti-tank ditches, and infrastructure denial plans to slow any invasion. Defense spending is up, arsenals are modernizing, and a Baltic defense line is forming. Finland and Sweden's NATO membership has turned the Baltic Sea into a NATO lake, reshaping the strategic landscape. Nordic countries are integrating military planning, conducting joint exercises, and forming a unified air command. From the Arctic to the Carpathians, a continuous chain of defense now faces Russia. This united front sends a clear message. The eastern flank is prepared and resolute. Deterrence is now a regional effort, not just a Polish one. Despite tensions and provocations, most analysts agree, a direct Russian attack on NATO is unlikely in the near term. Russia's military is depleted by the war in Ukraine. Losses in personnel, armor, and aircraft have been severe. Rebuilding will take years. Estimates suggest Russia won't pose a credible threat to NATO until at least 2029. This window is Poland's opportunity. Modernize and fortify before Russia recovers. Russia's current tactics, drones, balloons, cyber attacks are meant to harass, not invade. Poland's bold moves counter these gray zone threats while preparing for the future. The alliance is racing the clock, determined to make any future attack too costly for Moscow. When the time comes, NATO's shield will be stronger than ever.